Okay, you're on.
Hello. So, in becoming a performer and learning to be a performer, I've learned to do like little tricks for myself. One, I don't usually think about performing before I perform
Okay.
because that's when the nerves come in.
Yes.
You know, and when I'm about to go up on stage, I hear this song in my head. Eye of the Tiger.
I love
Dun,
that.
dun, dun, dun.
Yes.
And that gets me hyped.
Okay.
So when I'm on stage and I just feel what I'm about to read, and I remember when I was writing it and the emotions that that piece stirred,
Yeah.
and I let that envelop me. You know, but it's also, I have to say that I've been blessed with this like natural performance skill that I knew before because I used to dance.
Well, how long did you dance for?
Many years. I say like 10 years.
Wow.
No, more. I even went to Turkey when I was 13 with NATO's Children's of the World's Festival.
Really?
Yeah. And I went to Ankara and Istanbul, you know. But that was me starting to, you know, free myself. Because after that, a few months later, that's when I went to boarding school.
Okay.
And that's one of, you know, we were talking earlier about those defining moments. You know, one of the defining moments of my life was leaving to boarding school. I was 13. I was a little, you know, I was a kid. I was a little piece of shit. You know, I didn't, you know, and I knew somehow at that age, I knew that my life would never be the same, but I knew that I had to do it. And that it was going to be hard.
Okay.
But I had to take my wings. You know, but that's always been me. You know, figuring out my own path has always been me.
Okay.
I don't know any other way to be. It's hard sometimes, you know, the whole, you know, being a powerful woman, as they call it. You know, and as my friend said, you wear that shit like a cloak, B. And, you know, there's, when you don't know any other way to be, it just comes natural. You know, it's very natural. This is what I gotta do, and I'm gonna do it, and that's it.
What do you think? How do you think that affects or should affect young women generally, not just young Latinas, but just young women as a whole? Just how do you know?
Well, I think first of all, that whole "do as I say, not as I do" is nonsense. That doesn't work. Kids learn by imitation. So when I had my daughter, that's when I really said, you know, I'm a writer and I have to do this. And I said, you know, what legacy am I going to leave this little girl? And the greatest gift I can give her is to show her through my life that she too can do these things, and she can also wear her power and be beautiful and powerful and own it, you know, and own that shit.
Yeah.
And still be vibrant, you know, because so often we women are taught to, desde chiquita, we've taught to not just humble ourselves, but to shrink ourselves.
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of us have a hard time distinguishing between what's being humble versus exactly what you said, shrinking yourself.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times it goes hand in hand, where they become synonymous as opposed to two completely different things.
Well, one of my favorite quotes by Marianne Williamson says, "You do not serve the world by shrinking yourself."
Exactly.
To assuage other people's insecurities. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, if you are shrinking yourself, you're not doing that for you. You're doing that for other people. And you can't do that for other people because that doesn't serve them.
Exactly.
You know, the brighter you shine, the more you show people that they can shine too. You know, and you know, this comes in waves, and it's a roller coaster, and it's hard. This life is hard.
Yes.
You know,
Oh, yes.
but while it's hard, I could not imagine not doing it. I cannot imagine living another life.
It's funny when you say that, because I feel the same way, and I know a lot of people that feel the same way too. And to take it even a step further, I know a lot of women who say the same thing.
Yeah.
But I also know a lot of women who say that if they had a chance to do it all over again, what would they change about it? And to date, I still haven't found a woman who has said, I would rather not be a woman.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
The dumb shit I've done, you know, because I look at my life and I'm like, why did you do that?
Well, we all have regrets.
Yeah.
There's not one person who doesn't.
I don't have
know.
regrets.
Well, more like if you had the option to go back and tweak it or do it a different kind of way?
I still would have done it like that.
Really?
Because all of those things brought me here.
I like that.
You know, so while I'm like, wow, you could have done that another way, but would you be here? No, probably not. So, you know what? Take that. You know, take those lessons and help that define who you are and who you've become. And, you know, no matter what happens in my life and, you know, the roller coasters that I go through, you know, for the first time ever in my life, I'm like, yo, this is joy. This is beautiful. You did this.
That's
you know,
me. That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
So,
and I commend you for that. And I admire you for that.
Yeah. I mean, thank you. But it really ultimately, it comes down to perspective.
Well, that's exactly it. A lot of people, I feel, tend to get so caught up in the negative because it's so easy to do that.
Yeah.
Because when you start getting in the negative, it becomes almost comfortable to be a part of this kind of walking dead, if you will. Mm-hmm. And then to change that and to just get out, remove yourself from it and take the risk to do something different or use that energy to create, positivity in your life.
Yeah.
Is just, it takes a type of courage, I think, and a specific kind of understanding of yourself and an awareness that I don't think many people have, unfortunately.
I think you're right. Well, I mean, there's that saying, la costumbre es más fuerte que el amor.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's stronger than self-love, too.
Yes.
Because you could be involved in something and enmeshed in something that you know is not serving you.
Exactly.
But because you don't know anything else, and that whole fear of change.
And the unknown.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, but change is one of those things that, that it's always going to happen. Everything. And if you don't expect to change, then you have a problem. Mm-hmm. You know, and if if something's going on in your life and you're not happy with it, then change it. Mm-hmm. You know, as hard as it may be, is it going to be any more difficult than being trapped in something that you know you need to get out of, but you don't know how to get out of? Mm-hmm. I mean, which is worse?
Exactly.
You know? Mm-hmm. I mean, the unknown is a scary thing. I don't think fear is the problem. I think fear is natural. I think it's the reaction to fear that's the issue.
I like that.
You know, if you let fear paralyze, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. Now, if you let fear catalyze you, then that's beautiful.
I'm going to quote that.
I mean, that's I live by that. You know, I'm scared all the time. I'm scared about this next novel. I'm scared about, next year. It's been 6 months since I quit my job. Somehow, the bills are paid. My daughter's doing beautiful. I'm still trudging on this dream. I'm teaching. I'm doing what I love. I'm performing, working on this novel that's milking me of everything that I have. I feel like I'm on a machine that's sucking out my blood sometimes with this novel. But that story needs to be written. It needs to be written. So I'm doing it. And it's terrifying. But I still have to do it. Period.
What do you think your next move would be? Say after, where do you envision yourself next year?
The memoir. I'm writing first of Pentagonia. I've seen it. I've always seen my memoir as a 5-part series.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know why. It's just something that, just like when I had my daughter, I was like, I know it's a girl.
Wow.
I knew it was a girl. I knew.
It's just
I was right.
an intuition.
Knew. Yeah. Uh-huh. And also a one-woman show that goes hand in hand with my memoir because according to statistics, and if you look at my life, I should not be where I'm at.
I'm there with you.
I shouldn't be this person that I've become.
Yep.
And it's been a road.
Can you expand on that a little more? Because I think it's extremely, extremely important for young Latinos and Latinas alike to see people who have lived where they lived, come from where they come from, speak the same language, listen to the same music, and eat the same food, and still are able to find a way to, as I say, play by their rules and still win.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was raised in Bushwick, Brooklyn, and this was in the 80s when crack was destroying our neighborhoods and our people.
Yes, it was.
And I was raised in a gay relationship. I had 2 moms, and my relationship with my biological mother was very antagonistic. You know, now I understand that my mother loves me. She just didn't always, and still to this day, doesn't always know how to love me. And that's her shit. That's just, she's had a very difficult life. You know, but as a kid, you don't know that.
Yeah.
You know, y yo sufrí mucho as a result of that. But my buffer was my second mom, who loved me like, you know, nobody's ever loved me before. She's still with me. She passed away 5 years ago, and I feel her presence with me all the time. You know, so she is, you know, she used to tell me, I remember when I wrote my first book, I told her, I was like, you know, really, I'm writing my first book. She was like, Mija, but you've always been a writer. Like, it was just like, but of course.
How could it not happen?
Yeah,
like, okay.
You know, she was always on my side, you know, and she helped convince my mother to go away to boarding school, to let me go. Because she knew that that's what I needed to, you know. She was like, this is who you are. You need to go, you know. And I applied, and I got a 4-year scholarship. I'm an ABC student. A better chance. And I went away. And that was tough because, you know, I didn't fit in there. I was, you know, this hood girl from Brooklyn who was too loud, you know, I was too loud, I was too ethnic, I was too hood, I was too this, I was too that, I was too much of too much. So I didn't fit in there. And I remember I used to have my planner, and I would count down in the corner count down the days that I was going to go back home. I did that for 4 years. And I remember when I came back, my first vacation was Thanksgiving. So I wasn't in New York from September to Thanksgiving, which is a lot at 13. You know, you leave everything you know and everything you love and everything that's familiar to go into this world that's completely different from anything you've ever known. And I went away, but I did that because I had to. I just knew that I had to. And I had this mentor, Mr. Roth, who I actually found recently, and I thanked him. And I met him in 7th grade because I had a fight. I had a fight with this girl, whatever. I knocked her down trying to get back to this. I knocked him down trying to get to this girl. And he was like, who is this? Wait, you're in my class. And he was like, you're an excellent student. What is all this aggression? So he was like, we're going to take that aggression, we're going to put this somewhere else. And he became my mentor. And he was the one that, you know, introduced me to the ABC program. Okay. So I came back after Thanksgiving. I digress. I came back for Thanksgiving, and I remember I was hanging out with my friends, and I said, awesome. I'm so psyched. This is awesome. And they were like, what did you just say? Oh, V, you selling out? Oh, you a gringa. You're not one of us anymore. So I was no longer really accepted by, you know, because I was a white girl. Yeah. You know? And that didn't really change, you know. I still get that sometimes from people. Like, you're a sellout, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's hilarious. I mean, I don't let it faze me anymore, but as a kid, that really fazed me. Right. Because I didn't fit into the school that I was in this white America, this world of, you know, upper middle class and upper class America. And I didn't fit into what I thought was home. So where did I fit? So I had a lot of identity issues, and for a while I rejected the hood and that hood side of me, you know, and my Latino-ness, you know, my V-isms. I rejected that because that didn't accept me. So I tried to fit into this world where I was still the other, and I was always going to be the other. You know?
I think I don't mean to interrupt, but I think a lot of us experience that from one angle or another. Yeah. And you're right, especially as a kid, you do kind of have this identity issue. Yeah. I mean, in my situation, I'm Latina, but to the majority of people, I don't look Latina. Yeah. So, you know, I'm already put into a group of either being Greek or Russian or Romanian or whatever other thing I've been called other than what I am. And then, of course, everyone else who, you know, whose group you're being, you know, thrust into knows that's not where you're from. And so it's like, you know, it's like for me, it was always a constant struggle of having to always speak Spanish whenever I could to prove that, you know, it was always about proving, no, I am one of you.
People always imposing their own labels.
Yes. Yes.
So that, you know, not fitting in manifested itself in many ways. It manifested itself in, you know, in me trying to